Breaking news. The world of Formula One is in uproar after Oscar Piastri was allegedly robbed of a chance to claim back-to-back victories by his own team McLaren during the Japanese Grand Prix. Despite having the pace to fight for the win, team strategy once again left the Australian out in the cold, igniting frustration among fans and pundits alike. Meanwhile, outrage erupted as the FIA handed a bizarre penalty to Carlos Sainz for stepping away due to stomach issues during the Japanese national anthem. The decision sparked backlash from the paddock, with many calling it unnecessary and humiliating. On the Red Bull front, senior advisor Helmut Marko didn't hold back, delivering a scathing assessment of McLaren's race strategy, one he claims handed Max Verstappen a comfortable path to victory at Suzuka. Let's discuss, and stay tuned until the end. In a dramatic and, ultimately, baffling turn of events at the Japanese Grand Prix in Suzuka, McLaren have found themselves under intense scrutiny after appearing to throw away a potential victory, or at the very least a stronger podium challenge, by refusing to let Oscar Piastri have a crack at Max Verstappen. With both McLaren drivers starting from the front row, Lando Norris in P2 and Oscar Piastri in P3, the Woking-based team seemed poised to mount a genuine challenge against pole-sitter and reigning world champion Verstappen. But when the checkered flag fell, the top three remained unchanged, and the story became not about Red Bull's dominance but rather McLaren's caution. While Verstappen executed a flawless drive to take his first win of the 2025 season, questions swirled around McLaren's race strategy, or lack thereof, especially concerning Piastri, who voiced over team radio that he had the pace to challenge for the lead. In the closing stages of the race, the tension within McLaren's garage was palpable as Piastri closed in on his teammate, clearly faster and eager to push. However, Norris was unable to get within DRS range of Verstappen, and as a result, Piastri sat trapped in the turbulent wake of the car ahead, stuck in dirty air with no opportunity to launch a move or showcase his true pace. Despite his insistence over team radio that he could challenge for the lead if given clean air, McLaren opted not to swap their drivers. No attempt was made to let the Australian driver through to test his theory. Instead, the team played it safe, holding station, and, in doing so, potentially forfeited a shot at victory. There wasn't much debate. Piastri later admitted when asked about the team's decision. "I felt that if I had track position, I could have gone after Max, but that's what happens when you qualify behind, unfortunately. I at least asked the question, and I think that was a fair response." McLaren's overly conservative approach drew immediate criticism from several pundits, including former F1 driver and Sky Sports analyst Anthony Davidson, who was perplexed by the team's reluctance to split their strategies or make a bold call. Mercedes and Kimi Antonelli showed that going long and using the car in clean air can work, Davidson said. "I just don't understand why McLaren didn't do that with at least one of their cars. It's clear to me that this car was faster than the Red Bull at this track, especially over the long runs. They've sat in dirty air the entire race and didn't even try something different." Ted Kravitz echoed those sentiments, adding, "If you're McLaren and you get out-qualified by Max Verstappen, this is exactly what happens. You lose the race. This feels like the first big operational error and missed opportunity in the championship campaign for McLaren." Sky Sports' Naomi Schiff took the criticism a step further, suggesting that this cautious approach has become a hallmark of McLaren's current race strategy. "It feels like McLaren are always running things conservatively, always thinking about banking safe points rather than taking risks for wins," Schiff explained. Oscar clearly looked racier. Yes, there was turbulent air, but he was in it and still pushing. And if Lando was saving tires, as the team said, why not let Oscar through to have a go? If it didn't work, you simply reverse the positions again. Her sentiment was mirrored by fans on social media who blasted the team for failing to seize the opportunity. Many argued that McLaren should have allowed Piastri to attempt an overtake and, if unsuccessful, return the place to Norris, a strategy not uncommon in modern F1 when team orders are managed professionally. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz fined $20,000 by FIA for missing national anthem, despite verified medical emergency. Carlos Sainz's turbulent start to life at Williams took another dramatic turn at the Japanese Grand Prix, not on track, but before the lights even went out. The Spanish driver has been fined $20,000 USD by the FIA for a procedural breach after he failed to appear on the grid in time for the national anthem ceremony, despite suffering from a verified stomach illness. The incident has sparked widespread backlash across the paddock and among fans, with many slamming the governing body's decision as both tone-deaf and unnecessarily harsh, especially given that Sainz required medical attention just moments before the race began. In Formula One, protocol is everything. Each race weekend follows a tightly controlled schedule, including a requirement that all 20 drivers be present on the starting grid when the host nation's anthem is played. However, Sainz was notably absent from the grid as the Japanese anthem echoed around Suzuka on Sunday. The 30-year-old was battling a stomach issue severe enough to force him to sprint back to the garage just minutes before the anthem was scheduled. He later rejoined the grid after it had already begun, prompting an investigation by race stewards. Despite the medical nature of the delay, the FIA handed down a $20,000 fine, a reduced amount from the standard $110,000 penalty outlined in the sporting code. In a statement released after the race, the FIA explained their decision. The driver arrived at the national anthem position after the anthem had commenced. During the driver's briefing on Friday, all drivers were reminded of the requirement to be in position by the time prescribed in the regulations and the need to show respect for the host country's anthem. The FIA also acknowledged the medical circumstances, noting that Sainz had received treatment from Dr. Massimo Messina of the MedX team. Still, the stewards opted to issue a fine, albeit a significantly reduced one. In mitigation, the driver stated that just prior to the anthem, he experienced discomfort due to a stomach issue which delayed his appearance on the grid. This was verified by Dr. Messina of MedX, who confirmed the issue and stated he had provided appropriate medication for the driver. The penalty has been met with a barrage of criticism from across the F1 community. Fans and pundits alike have questioned the FIA's priorities, arguing that punishing a driver for a legitimate medical emergency sets a troubling precedent. Meanwhile, Helmut Marko mocks McLaren's papaya rules after Suzuka's strategy misfire costs shot at victory. Helmut Marko wasted no time taking a jab at McLaren following a puzzling strategic decision that may have cost the British team a chance at victory during the 2025 Japanese Grand Prix. As Max Verstappen claimed Red Bull's first win of the season at Suzuka, McLaren were left to rue what could have been, with both Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri shadowing the Dutchman but never mounting a serious challenge. Marko, never one to hold back, mocked what he called a new version of the papaya rules, a reference to McLaren's infamous intra-team policy that prioritizes caution and unity over outright aggression between teammates. It looked like Piastri was the faster driver, the 81-year-old Red Bull advisor told German media. The question is whether he could have overtaken Max, because that's a different story on this circuit. But maybe this is a new version of the papaya rules, he added with a laugh. We would have swapped. But McLaren has the papaya rules, and they are their own rules. The controversy erupted late in the race as both McLaren drivers sat behind Verstappen, Norris in second, Piastri in third, with the top three separated by just over 2 seconds. On the radio, Piastri pleaded for a team order to let him by. If Lando is still saving, I think he should go soon. I think I have the pace to get Max. But McLaren responded by stating, this is Lando's pace, effectively denying the request. Piastri again reiterated his belief he could challenge Verstappen, but the team stood firm.